Welcome to the Multitasking Maven Show. If you're tired of saying, I don't have time for that, you're in the right place. I help busy moms organize their time and get the most out of their days through videos, tips, interviews, and workshops. After taking one of my productivity workshops, Carol had to say, amazing! You've given me back at least 5 hours a week. If you would like to find time in your schedule, make sure to go to multitaskingmaven.com right there on the homepage and register. Now, let's get into today's episode. All right, so I am really excited about this week's interview because for me as a mom, one of the important things is that I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I still want to contribute to my household. But more importantly, I want to carve out this little space of my week, of my day, that is me, Rhonda. It's not Maggie's mom, Andrew's mom, all of the mom, Daniel's wife, all of those sorts of things. So I have with me a very special guest, Abbey Ashely of the Virtual Savvy, and she's going to take us on a journey. And I hope that she's going to motivate you. I know she's going to motivate you. She's going to inspire you. But I just hope that she opens up an opportunity that maybe you haven't already considered or that you don't know about. So welcome, Abbey.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited.
Now, you're a mom of 2 little kiddos, right?
Yep.
And tell me, let's just hear your story.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I was in 2012 working a full 9-to-5 job, didn't have kids yet, and I actually got married in 2011, and on our 1-year anniversary, my daughter was due, and
nice.
and I was really done with my 9-to-5. I wanted to not leave my daughter at home to go to a job that I hated. I'm all for, working moms, that's cool, but to go to a job that you hate and take your kid to a daycare, not cool. So I just knew that that's not what I wanted to do. So I started looking for options on how to work from home so I could be at home with my daughter. And I stumbled upon virtual assistants and, scoured everything on the internet about that topic and decided to launch my own VA business. So I launched right before my daughter was born, actually. I was literally writing emails in the hospital, which I wouldn't recommend. Boundaries, people. But I started my business, and it honestly, 4 months, it had taken off. I had a group of subcontractors working under me at this point, and I had, replaced the income that I had been making full time, just working about 20 hours a week. So it was a game changer for myself, for my family, and really for me as a mom. It was huge. And so I was nannying at the same time. As soon as I quit my job, which was literally the week before my daughter was born, I started nannying as I was building up, and I absolutely hated that. So this was the perfect balance for me. I found what I really loved doing. So it was awesome.
Even when you started back in 2011, there wasn't a whole bunch of stuff online. There was not. You really had to carve out your own path and try a lot of different things, right? Did you have what was your experience? Were you taking things that you had used in your job, your day-to-day job? Is that how you were marketing yourself?
So there were a few blog posts and ebooks out there on how to get started. So kind of the business building basics. So I used that. There was an awesome blog from Reese Benyakov, which is now a friend of mine, and she's promoting my course in a couple of weeks. So it's cool how things have changed over the past couple of years. But so she had a blog, and there were a couple of ebooks, but nobody had a course, and there was nothing talking about marketing. So I have a bachelor's in marketing and a master's in organizational management that I had gotten because I was working at a school actually before I started. And so I used, the business building aspects from all these random blog posts that I got and just kind of figuring it out. And then I infused some of the marketing skills that I had from my degree and some past experience I had done, like some PR type of things for my university. So I kind of infused those into what I found online and said, let's figure this thing out.
You had to have been, I'm thinking about, okay, so if someone wants to start a business, there are all kinds of different opportunities. We can sell stuff out of our house, multi-level marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Here you are, number one, the journey of an entrepreneur is stressful in and of itself, and you're taking a risk. But how did you feel about, you're online. And so, for those folks who really haven't even thought about it or even known about it, how did you make that connection? What was that first client like?
Well, let me say this. One of the things I really loved when I discovered virtual assistants is that I felt like I was finally offering something that was like real. I don't know if that makes sense. Even though it was online, it seemed like the most like real business that I had found that you could do from home on your own time. I know plenty of people that do like MLM type of stuff, but I couldn't contact my friends to try to sell them things that I didn't think they really needed. And like, I couldn't do that. And I had like, before, I've always had like an entrepreneurial mind. So I had like sold jeans on eBay before. Like I'd go to thrift stores and sell jeans. I sold textbooks online. So I'd buy textbooks off of, like Amazon and sell them to buyback companies. I did that for a while, and those made like a little bit of money here and there, but they weren't like a business that was scalable, that seemed like it was really legit. So, when I discovered virtual assistants, I'm like, oh, this is like me. I could use the skills, some of the admin skills that I already have. I could do this, but offer a service that like someone actually needs. Like I'm promoting to business owners, not just like my friends and family. So I really liked that. And so my very first client, I think I got I made some business cards, and I went to just a local meetup group, and I passed them out and talked with people, and a massage therapist hired me to do like some data entry for her. And that was my very first client. So it was nice. It felt like I was doing a real task. And I remember receiving that first payment on the invoice, and I'm like, I made money doing something that was like really easy at home, like while my kid was sleeping. This is amazing.
So was it hard for you because you built your business like really, really quickly? When she's talking about, in 4 months she was booked out and she had subcontractors, meaning other people like her that were now working for her. Was it difficult for you to, that just is like, whoa, it's exciting, but it's a little bit overwhelming. Was there a hard time to that work-life balance, or did you just feel like you were working all the time? Were you working less?
So during that time, my husband had a terrible job. He was working for the government actually in DC, and he had an 1.5 hour commute each way, plus was working a 9-hour day because they had like a mandatory hour lunch break. So he was gone for what I said, that was 9 till he was gone like 12 hours a day. Wow. And that sucked. That absolutely sucked. But it was just, what we were doing at the moment. So I just honestly, I worked a lot. My kid, newborns are awesome, but they don't do a whole lot. So I'm like, for a while and then be like, okay, I'm going to put you down and do some work now. So for me, and as the business grew, mom guilt is a very real thing. So navigating that, like how much time do I spend with my kid, and how much time do I sit them in their bouncy chair, and how much do I, and so pretty early on, I had someone come into my house 1 day a week once I had made enough money. And I felt like it was really a good choice for me. I liked having, and I think every person just has to make this decision for themselves. There's no right or wrong answer, but for me, I knew that I needed like once I had made enough money to bring someone in once a week into my home, I would like go into a back room or go to a coffee shop, and I had someone I trusted that was there babysitting for a day. And I got one solid day just to work on my business, make sure my client stuff was good, do interviews, those kinds of things. And so that one day turned into 2 days a week where someone would come. And then, you know, it eventually progressed where now my kids actually do go to daycare now. And this is years into the business, and they're 2 and 4 now. And I think it's actually a really good, I feel good about it. They just started that pretty recently. So I think you just have to do what's right for you in the time of life that you're in. There's no way in 2012 I would have been like, I'm going to send my kids to daycare full time, because it wasn't right for me at the time. And now it's right for me. So, and for some people that they end up running a business from home, and they never end up having somebody else come and help. They do it just in the mornings and in the afternoons during nap time or whatever. And you do have to like have the realization, okay, my business may not grow as fast, but that's okay, you know? Right. So I think that it's all just navigating really what's right for you. I like to have people, you know, when they think of where they want their business to be, I like to start with, what do you want your lifestyle to look like? If we're building a lifestyle business, then not where do you want your business to be? Oh, I want to be making this much money and doing all this stuff. How many hours do you want to work? Well, I don't want to send my kids to daycare, and I don't want to do this. Well, then your business may not look like that. And, you know, like, let's be realistic. What do you want your life to look like? Well, I'd like to be out of the house 2 days a week and work mornings and evenings, and maybe do like a babysitting swap one day. Okay, cool. If that's what you want your life to be like, then, you know, what business could we build to make your life look like that 6 months from now?
I love that. I love how, because here's the thing. I mean, you were in a situation where you hated where you worked. Mm-hmm. You knew that you wanted to change. You knew you wanted to be at home, but you also knew that you wanted to be Abbey. And your husband was in a situation where he didn't like, I mean, obviously, I mean, if he's commuting an hour and a half there and back every day. So it really, it is, I mean, you know, that I have 4 children, and my season of life is very, very different now than when I started my business over 14 years ago, and babies and diapers and 3 in one at one time in diapers. I mean, it's just really, really different. And then even my need as a mother, like I appreciate that mom guilt, that never goes away. Mm-hmm. Am I doing the right thing? I mean, we homeschool, so are they getting what they need? Should I be homeschooling? Do I feel like I know it all? Am I giving my child, you know, the best opportunity? And that I don't think that's ever going to go away for us. That's always going to be there. But what I want to kind of maybe circle back around to is those folks that are like, okay, let's say, for example, they work in an office. What are some of the skill sets or some of the things that you can take and then translate online for them to get started, you know, part-time, you know? And I like how you kind of crafted that, like, what do you want your life to look like? Because we don't want to go from one hot mess to another. So what can we craft that's going to fulfill us and do all of the things? But where do I get started, and what do I have to offer? People are going to pay me to do that?
Right. Yeah. You'd be amazed what people will pay you to do. It's crazy. But really, you know, 2 things. One, I would take an honest look at really the skills that you do have, whether you think that someone would pay you for them or not. Do an honest evaluation, sit down with a notepad for half an hour and just write, like, okay, what are the things I can do? And break it down as simple, like, go through your entire day. Well, I answer emails. Okay. Answer emails, write that on there. I'm a good proofreader. Like, my husband asks me to read stuff for him all the time. Okay. I could do that. And just go through and list out the things that you're currently doing in your job, things that you've done in previous jobs, maybe volunteer stuff that you've done, just all of the skills that you've done. The next thing that I would recommend doing is, because I'm guaranteed there's things that you didn't think of, is to ask some of the people around you. So ask your friends, ask your spouse, ask, you know, people that your coworkers, ask people around you, like, okay, I'm kind of thinking about doing this. Get people involved as you're building this thing. You might not want to involve like your boss right away, but everybody else, you can. kind of involve in the process. And then, and because I'm sure there'll be some blind spots. They're like, oh, well, you didn't think of this. Like, you are incredible at this. You're the go-to person for this thing. Like, you plan incredible parties. Like, event planning has to be some kind of something in there too. And then what I would recommend, I would have that list in the background. And what the last thing I would do, and this is still like kind of while you're choosing just what kind of services, this isn't even necessarily marketing yet, but you could end up getting a client out of it, is think, do I know a business owner? I'm sure you sitting there know one business owner, okay? And just like you know one business owner, somebody else knows your husband, your friend, your coworker, they know one business owner. So see if you can get few, even if they're just 15, 20-minute phone calls with a couple of real life small business owners, and just sit down and say, hey, I'm launching this new business. I'm discovering what kind of services I want to offer in that business. What things would be helpful? Like, if you were to hire somebody, I'm not asking you to hire me necessarily, but just ask them, like, what skills would you want to hand off? And once people realize, especially like brick and mortar or local business owners, like, virtual assistant is still really new to a lot of people, but when they hear what it is, they're like, oh my gosh, like, I spend 5 hours a week just calling people and doing appointments, like not even like cold calls, like calling my current clients and just doing appointment reminders. Could you do that? Well, maybe you could, maybe you couldn't. But I think that once you just get out there and start actually talking to people, those services will surface.
Well, and even I really want to emphasize one of the things that she said, answering emails. My very first virtual assistant job was working in inbox. I answered emails. And while you may think, well, that doesn't sound very sexy, it doesn't, but I had been a business owner, but I was still, making that transition online. And when I did that, it was so motivating, so exhilarating, so exciting that I'm like, all right, well, I need to be doing this and I need to be doing this. I think you just need to take that first step and never discount your skill set. I met someone New Year's Eve, InDesign. She knows InDesign. Adobe. Those are highly sought after skills. She's working in the nonprofit sector. Those are highly sought after skills where people, are $30, $45 and above an hour. And now I'm hoping that you're starting to see those things turn. You don't have to have a goal of making $5,000, $10,000, $100,000 a month. I mean, that when you're coming from a traditional standpoint of working a brick and mortar, working 9 to 5, those numbers seem just like out of this world. You may just be looking to pay for dance lessons, pay for soccer, pay for, those additional, the family vacation. Set your sights there first, get your feet wet, get your confidence, and then truly, because the story behind the story is this is how Abbey started. Now in 2018, what does your business look like, Abbey?
Yeah, so I actually, a little over a year ago, decided to transition from doing one-on-one work with clients to teaching other people how to become virtual assistants. So this is my full-time job now, is doing an online course and coaching program where I teach other people how to do what I did. And it's awesome and super rewarding. And but virtual assistants was definitely the gateway into that, and I think that, like you said, answering emails might not seem super glamorous, but if you think of answering emails for $30 an hour sitting at home in your pajamas at 6 a.m. while your kids are still sleeping, that sounds a little better. And I mean, trust me, there's plenty of non-glamorous parts to owning your own business, but it was definitely, it's what got me into this whole world that, like, you don't even realize exists once you get into this online business world. And so I realized that with my personality and my skill sets and my teaching and my marketing background, that creating courses and coaching is really what I wanted to do. So that's what I launched a year and a half ago. And the business now makes about $30,000 a month, which is crazy. And I have a team, I have people to help me. I'm not personally pulling that in yet, but that's the goal within the next couple of years. So yeah.
So here you go. I mean, Abbey went from really disliking her job. She was having a baby. She had her own clients. In that, she built the confidence. I mean, she had subcontractors working for her in a very short period of time. And now she has evolved to impacting other women's lives. I mean, you can choose whatever you want as far as your goal, your end goal is, what your day-to-day is. If it is to get out of that really just sucky job and be able to be home at 3 o'clock when the kids get off the bus, or, there are a lot of moms thinking about homeschooling and how can you do that? And then that cuts off 50%, of your income coming into the doors. Sitting in yoga pants or pajama pants, answering emails is a great alternative. And it's just definitely doable. That's what I wanted to share. I wanted to share what that opportunity looked like and, what you can do. Because I know we're going to have some people that are go-getters and that want to be in your shoes as well and producing what you produce each and every month. But also you just have to know that the heart that Abbey comes from, Abbey and I have known each other for about a year now, and she is impacting lives, women's lives, families' lives in such a profound way. She doesn't take the credit that she needs to take. She's very humble, but what she does and the opportunities that she provides are tremendous. And so, Abbey, for those folks who you've piqued their interest now, they can answer emails. They may know some graphic design. They may like Pinterest a lot. Tell us how we can get started.
Yeah, well, I actually, I have a free masterclass that's coming up. It'll be on January 15th, but you can go ahead and sign up for it now. And you can get that at thevirtualsavvy.com/bizin5, BIZIN, and then the number 5. I'm sure Rhonda will link to that, but that's going to be a 5-day little masterclass that every single day I'm going to lead you through a new lesson that shows you how to get started as a virtual assistant. So that's going to be really fun. It starts on January 15th, and I'd love to have you guys join me for it.
Awesome. And I'm also going to put a link. Here's something else that you might not know about Abbey is that she has we all like private Facebook groups, and she has a private Facebook group with almost 19,000 of her closest friends are also in that group. So if you're looking, if you've got questions, that's a great place. It's a great resource to get started. And also, I'm going to also link in the show notes here, thevirtualsavvy.com. She has got a lot of great checklists and great content if this is a path that you want to get started with. And before we end, one of the things, several years ago, trying to make that transition from offline to online, I'm like, I'm going to start a blog. And I think that a lot of us have these ideas that I'm going to start a blog and people are going to pay me to blog and I'm going to make money off of ads. I would really highly, highly, highly recommend that you start as a service provider. If you start as a service provider, you are going to understand so much more. It's almost like someone is paying you to get business experience, right? And if you're making that transition from working in an office to going online to see behind the scenes of someone else's business, both the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? Then you're going to be able to pick and choose and then, kind of be in that position. Maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year where you do launch a blog and you do go off and do other things. Yeah. And then the other thing that I want to end with is that to do it. Don't think about don't think about it, do it. Doing is better than perfect. And to have a pretty website and to have a pretty fonts and to have pretty colors and all that stuff is great. That's not bringing money into your house, right? It's not getting in your yoga pants and your jammy pants, doing things on the side, while you're at home. So take action. And never, ever, compare yourself, your beginning to someone else's middle. Because, if you get with the right folks, like with Abbey, she's going to take you along that journey and she's going to help you grow in the way that you need to. So I'll definitely put all the links. Thank you so much for joining me today, Abby. I know everybody's going to be really, really excited about this interview, and go and register.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. For show notes and links, go to multitaskingmaven.com. Remember, register for the Manage Mama Overwhelm Productivity Workshop so I can help you find time in your busy schedule. We'll see you soon.